Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Wait, Are These Guys Friends? I am Mike, and I am here with Randy. Randy, how was your week?
Mike, it was busy, but good. It felt productive. How's that for? It's always nice when you have things that you don't need to finish up. I think I'm very much I get when stuff leaves unfinished, it eats away at me for the rest of the week, even though I have other things that I still need to do in my day to day. And I'm like, oh, there's that thing that I still had to do. So to finish tasks is very rewarding for me.
I am, perhaps this would track for you, is while I am professionally I need to make sure that work thing is completely good, in every other aspect of my life, my ADHD goes full. I have a myriad of half-finished projects and half-formed ideas that don't worry, I feel the crushing guilt of not finishing them, and yet, I cannot get around to actually finishing them. So you would hate who I am in my private home, which you might hate who I am anyway, so that's fair. So,
I mean, I'll be honest, it's not like crazy things. It's more that, we got a new washer and dryer in our basement, 3 weeks ago. And I'd meant to just move the stuff that we'd moved around in the basement back to be organized. This is super exciting stuff, I know. But because it is now from the main area of the basement back where in the storage area where it should be, it's just like, when I go downstairs.
Well, I needed to make a phone call that would take roughly 20 seconds. And I finally did it yesterday after needing to do it for roughly 2 weeks. So, we're pretty much on the same par here.
It's the same deal,
Yeah. I could have literally made the call at any time and just had to do it. But that would necessitate having made the call or calling anybody. I don't want to do that. But doing this is exhausting enough. My goodness.
The cluttered basement of your phone call, bank is now clear. So good for both of us.
Is Cluttered Basement a good band name, or is that played out?
It's not bad. I feel like it could be improved upon. It's a good start.
Or
Clutter in the Basement, maybe, or something like that.
Or it's not a band name. It could be my first album, and I go with the first thing you said is Cluttered Basement of My Phone Calls, which is, I think, what you said. That's my first album. It's going to be really good.
I like it.
You are not going to like the music. It is a bizarre jazz fusion pop punk. And I know you'd say, but I like pop punk, but it really leans more into the jazz fusion. It's not good. Especially because I can't play any instruments and I play everything.
It's just nasal. It's just nasal, whiny jazz.
Yeah, it's bad. It's me scatting for an hour and a half. So, but I scat emo pop punk lyrics. It's really, really terrible.
I'm getting ahead of things just from what do we watch, but that just because it ties into that, I'm bringing it up very briefly. I got into a deep YouTube dive on Beavis and Butthead, like just watching music videos. And, people, God bless the people doing the work on YouTube that put together, 400 of them together as one. And, on the show, they only watched, 30 to 40 seconds of a video. So you could just rip through a bunch of them. And one of them they watched was Scatman. And
nice. Well, let's dive right into what we watched this week, because all I was going to do was trying to see if I could somehow scat a version of Adam's Song by Blink-182 in my head. But let's move on from that. As a kid, it's crazy how my tastes have changed, because I don't know if you felt this way at the time, but there was a contingent of people like me, and you might be like, I don't believe you, but I promise we were out there. We wanted to watch Beavis and Butthead for the cartoons, and the music videos were these 30-second interludes that got in the way of me watching Beavis and Butthead. As I've aged, I thought, God damn it, I didn't appreciate how good that was. And now I've done similar things and gone back and watched those bits, especially because you can only find them on YouTube. Music rights, you're never going to get those released on DVD. They're never going to be part of the collections. So, but tell me more, what were some of your other favorites? Anything stand out?
There's a couple. There's one where they're watching the rap group Fushnikins. I think it was What's Up Doc, Can We Rock? That was the rap group that Shaq jumped in with in the early to mid 90s. And one of the rappers from Fushnikins, his calling card is he raps really, really, really fast. And so he goes through and at one point, that's what Butthead says. He's just like, wow, this guy raps fast. And Beavis is just like, I can rap faster than that. And then he just did one of his like, and it was actually the lyrics, and you could tell they just sped it up or whatever. And but it's just like, oh, that was pretty good. Like, and I had remembered that from other ones. That it's funny how I would immediately skip one when it was from the first season or two, like where they hadn't found their voice on, and Judge hadn't really found the voice yet. And once it was really refined, it just would immediately turn me off because I'm like, okay, it doesn't sound. I don't know. It doesn't sound complete or what.
It's why my friend Steph was trying to tell me recently that like not enough people appreciate the second season of The Simpsons. And I was like, you may be right, but I can't enjoy it because everybody sounds wrong and it looks wrong. Like I can't turn on a first or second season episode without feeling off. And yeah, sure, that's my hang up. It's the show, the voices, but there's so much being formed that I can't get into it as much. But just to correlate that to a
sure, yeah, and the one other one, it's because all the ones from what they did on the newer season. Did you watch any of the newer season? It was on Paramount Plus.
Beavis and Butthead?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't have Paramount Plus.
Gotcha. And it was interesting.
I can't have every service, Randy. Something has to fall on the wayside. I can't pay for everything.
Apparently, I've reorganized my priorities in life, but I guess no, you know what? We had it and then got rid of it, but we had it while Beavis and Butthead was, with those seasons came out.
To your point, I think I technically overlapped where I could have watched them, but I only had it so I could watch Star Trek Picard Season 3, but I waited till the season was fully out. I binged it in like a day and a half, canceled my free trial, and never looked back.
Gotcha.
So thanks, Paramount Plus.
I will say the new seasons did a really cool because I remember they tried something in like 2010, 2011. It didn't work at all. I don't
remember that at all. What are you talking about? I'm gonna look that up while you're talking.
I could be making that up, but I feel like the MTV tried to bring it back, and it didn't really work. But the episodes they brought back, and I heard Mike Judge on a podcast say he really liked the writers that were a little bit more out there, and so they found ways to make Beavis and Butthead more almost postmodern into this era. So one of the other things they do, in addition to watching music videos, because it's harder to find music videos, they'll watch like TikTok videos, or they'll watch influencers doing stuff, and then they'll comment on that. I was like, oh, cool. That's like an updated way of that's what Beavis and Butthead would be doing if they were sitting on their couch, So
can I get them? I wanted to get them to do my biggest video has 4.5 million views. Is that enough to be made fun of on Beavis and Butthead?
It would have to be the next season, but yeah. So
son of a bitch.
But tying it back to the videos, one of the ones they did watch, and this was it was just a great sort of reveal where like it's a BTS video. And Beavis just starts going, yes, this is great. And Butthead's like, what are you talking about? And Beavis is like, no, I mean, because it sucks. And then he like starts to name it. He's like, at least he's not like this guy, because he's all moody. And Butthead's like, you know their names? he's like, I'm gonna leave. I don't want to deal with this. And I think it's that Dynamite song. And it keeps going, and Beavis is just kind of sitting there. And then you start to see Beavis's like shoulders bump to it.
Oh, that's good.
And then he just breaks down, and he's really dancing, like going crazy. Butthead comes back in and is like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, it was great. It's one of my favorite ones just to see. Like, you can find that one on YouTube, but it's a great little sequence.
I did look up this mystery season
that I was
aware of.
That?
Yeah,
was that
2011.
Right?
There was a season, a single season that the ratings were okay, but it did not hit the key demographics MTV was looking to hit, and that pretty much just got it canceled. And then MTV was apparently close to selling it to another network. Mike Judge said on Howard Stern in 2014, but the deal fell apart and it just didn't happen. And now obviously then it all works out. Interesting. Also, apparently, I didn't know this, that when they rerun Beavis and Butthead, like old Beavis and Buttheads on like MTV Classic, which they'll still do, this season is part of that run. They will include that with the original run occasionally.
Oh, okay.
So how about that? I learned a thing today. I did not know that season existed at all. In my mind, it had ended in like the 90s and then this new one.
There you go.
Anything else that you've...
The only other thing we watched was there's a Netflix documentary called, I think it's called Into the Fire, sort of a true crime, interesting premise where a woman who in Massachusetts who had given up her daughter for adoption received a letter from, I think, the state of Virginia about a missing person, like her daughter, because she was the only point of contact. The adoptive family wasn't the point of contact, about a missing persons report about her daughter at the age of 14 or something like that. And it's just going through this woman, and it turns into be more than a missing persons thing. There is some devious things at play that involve the adoptive family, that involve a couple other things. And so this woman who is didn't have a relationship with this girl. She had the daughter very, very young, and so gave it up for adoption, but still felt this sort of maternal instinct to try and find out, and found a couple internet sleuths to help her out. Did this is where she started on social media, and so they uncovered things, and then that turned into working with the Virginia Police Department in Norfolk, and really interesting development. Not a happy ending or story. Fascinating. It's a kind of a true crime. So well done, and just interesting to see the resolve of people that even though she never knew this young woman, she still had that maternal bond that drove her to find out what happened. It was interesting stuff.
I'll say I should check it out, and I actually can, because I just reactivated my Netflix. I'm back. I'm back, baby.
I want to make sure it's called Into the Fire. I think that's what it is.
I will admit that I'm not back for high quality drama and TV, because I could have waited a couple of months, but I thought there's a couple of things I want to watch. That Mr. McMahon documentary is streaming. I think it'll have been out for a week after we record this. It comes out, I think, tomorrow as of we're recording. So by the time
Mr. being Vince, right? I'm guessing?
Yes. Well, you're right. But the name of the documentary is Mr. McMahon.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's the one that they...
That's right.
Correct. It's the one that they had interviewed him for before the allegations, and then got delayed because of the allegations. And he just put out a statement, I think today, being like, I'm excited to see it, because he basically put out a statement being like, they twisted outdated sound bites. I was like, oh, they're taking him down. They're taking him down.
Oh, boy.
I was like, good, as well they should. I derailed what you were going to say, simply because I was going to say I got it back because WWE Raw is coming to Netflix at the start of the year. They're going to move Netflix to Raw. It's going off of cable. So, and then I thought, well, I want to watch a couple other things and catch up. I'll just reactivate it now. And so I'm back on the old Netflix train. And I figured, well, I can watch all that. But what's the name of the show again?
It's called Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter. So it's a two episodes. So you watch it. It's a couple hours of your time total for the whole thing. Interesting documentary. Yeah.
Good stuff. I only got one thing. I had kind of a busy week, real life wise, and I got one other thing I want to talk about before we hit our main topic. But anything else you want to talk about that you watched before I hit my thing?
No, go for it.
So I did watch the first 2 episodes of Agatha All Along on Disney Plus, and I hated the first episode to the point where I texted you. I was like, I don't want to watch this. And then I decided to give the second episode a shot, and it was better.
Okay.
I'm indetermined as to if I will come back for the third. But the problem I have with the first episode is we know she's a witch. Oh, this is going to get into light spoiler territory. I don't feel like it's super heavy spoiler territory, because some of this was in the previews, and also what the show's about, which is actually my problem with this episode. The first episode, they tried to pull like a WandaVision, where she's like in a TV show. And it's not the one that they had left her in at the end of WandaVision, which was she's like the housewife, whatever. Like, her trying to escape Wanda's spell had led her thing to become like, to go through different iterations of things. And when you catch up with her, she's like a hard-boiled CSI style show. And that's all well and good, but it's a half-hour episode. Once you take all the credits, it says it's 45 minutes, but in classic Marvel TV, you take all the credits, the intros, the bullshit away, you got about a half hour of content there.
Okay.
20 minutes of it was her and the mystery of who is she and what do I know and who's this person following me. And I was like, I fucking know who it is. Yeah. Can we move this along? I'm so fucking bored right now.
That's totally for people that haven't started watching it yet, right? Like, haven't watched any of the Marvel stuff. Yeah. No, I know, but it's still, it makes it like, come on. Let's condense this. Like,
right. You could have, God damn. And the second episode was mildly better, carried along on Catherine Hahn's charm. because she's
Mm.
very funny and very
Yeah.
charming. The episode itself, still, my biggest issue with the first 2 episodes of the series is I kept getting bored. I kept getting distracted
Yeah.
and bored, and I wasn't feeling engaged. It's a very nice looking show with good performances and all that. Like, listen, they're not going to throw, aside from Secret Invasion, they're not going to throw complete shit up on the screen. They did that with Secret Invasion.
Oh, yeah.
I kept getting bored. And I've seen all the discourse on like whether the show's necessary, and all the fucking people who bitch about shit being woke and all this. I'm like, I don't care about any of that. The show's just boring.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't care. It could, people are like, the show's too gay. And I was like, it could be gay porn. If I got an entertaining story around it, I'll watch it. I don't care. That's fine. I don't give a fuck. If I'm fucking right on screen, let's go to town. But have I got a good narrative around it?
Yeah.
Are you keeping me engaged in the characters? I'm in. But I just don't care right now. But yeah, I don't know.
How is Aubrey Plaza?
Aubrey Plaza, and that's actually part of my problem with it, is she's been doing the same shit for 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm over her shtick. She is,
yeah.
I don't know what to say. Like, she's fine, but she is very one note. And that's part of why she was so great in Parks and Rec, is because they forced her to come out of that a little bit and show some emotion and grow. Her biggest roles since then are second and third season.
April. Yeah.
April. God, I blanked. I'm embarrassed of myself. I knew it was an A name, and I was like, oh no, what happened to me? But when she was like moody and sarcastic, it's been that for 20 years. I'm over it.
Parks and Rec was really smart about finding that character and bouncing it off situations that forced that issue, right? Like, whether it was Leslie or Andy, like it was people that were so far different than from her, but still showcasing that they were enjoying and succeeding at what life was, regardless of what was, perceived to be life sucks. But yeah, life can be fun. Just change your view a little bit. And she's like, oh, all right, that's a light bulb in there. And then, but you're right, just about every other character I've seen her in, she just vapid kind of. I hate to say that. Vapid's not very nice, but
no, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's hollow and not shallow. Like, that would be more vapid, but I would say hollow because there's nothing there.
Yeah, hollow is a good one.
I may come back for the 3rd episode. I don't know, which comes out.
Do you know how many there are going to be, or?
There's going to be 9 episodes, although 8 release weeks 7 release weeks, because it was the first 2 the first week, and then the last 2 the day before Halloween.
See, that's what I thought. Hawkeye got it so right.
How so?
Or it was just 6 episodes in, out, fun performance from an ancillary character, forwarding the story a little bit, and off we go.
I agree, because I feel like a lot of people slandered Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it was also only 6 episodes. Yep. And frankly, I think that one could have been 4 episodes. There was still some filler in that one. But I liked it still for similar reasons.
I liked it a lot more than critics did. So I thought the Zemo buddy comedy bullshit was fun. Like,
I thought that was great. And that's why I'm actually excited for the what is it? I keep forgetting. They changed the subtitle a couple of times. New Captain America with Sam Mackie as Falcon. I mean, is it Brave New World? What they've changed the subtitle a couple of times.
Yes, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good point. I think you're right.
At one point it was New World Order, but I think you're that was okay. Yeah.
NWO.
Yeah. Well, it was. They had announced it as that, but I think everybody was like, "That's a fake title. They're going to swerve us." Just like wrestling, they're going to swerve us. I was a little disappointed. Marvel already. Did you watch any of the trailers or the hype material for Brave New World yet?
I saw it. They probably ran the preview during Deadpool and Wolverine, right?
Probably, yeah.
I haven't in-depth gone into it, but
well, I'm going to ruin something for you that if you don't remember it, really bring it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Every comic book fan knows that Thunderbolt Ross turns into the Red Hulk, right? But movie fans don't necessarily know that. If they had saved the reveal of the President of the United States turning into the Hulk at the podium, that would have been such an amazing theater moment. But they had to put it in the fucking trailer. And I'm just like, guys, you don't have to. It would have been really cool. to just have that happen.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Also, as good as Harrison Ford might be in that, it does make me sad that William Hurt couldn't see it through because obviously he passed away in 2022. That it would have been really fun continuity-wise to see a man who was in one of the most maligned Marvel movies, 2008's Incredible Hulk, be able to ride that through to be the fucking Red Hulk in 2024. That would have been amazing. And obviously, because he showed up in a bunch of other movies and cameos since then, it's disappointing that we had to recast at the finish line, it feels like, right before it would have been really neat. But, oh well, what are you going to do? But with that, that's pretty much all I've got for this week. Do you want to dive into our main topic? We didn't spend too long on the preamble.
Oh, this should get weird.
It should. So our topic today kind of came about where we were brainstorming, what do we want to do? And we were looking at, like, we could talk about year by year media, but some of that stuff is so played out. And I thought, what if we didn't look at the top 10 of a given year? What if we looked at what just missed out on the top 10? What was popular, but not as popular as everything else? And did it have, in the long run, more staying power than maybe things that were in the top 10? Things that became iconic. So we're going to look at mainly TV and movies. We had decided not to do music simply because we can't play the music. We don't have the rights. Yeah. So I can tell you that the number one song for the year we're going to start with, we have decided to do the years we were born. And this first episode will be 1980, because that is when Randy was born, in 1980. And it's a fine year for media. I was born in 83. So I will respect my elders and appreciate all this older media. I don't get to say that often. I'm so often the oldest person anywhere I go lately that it's nice to sit here with you, Grandpa.
And in the industry that both of us work in, it is more and more. Well, it's weird. It's either people that are markedly older than us, or just a whole bunch that's like much, much younger. And so it's the assumption becomes, oh, you're this age? No, I'm older.
I will tell you, though, the number one song for the year 1980 on the Billboard Hot 100, Call Me by Blondie. Call me!
Not bad.
Oh, we can do the music. I'll do that for every song.
Great. We have a cease and desist from Blondie for a whole bunch of different reasons, but...
What about, I could do it. I don't want to do number 2. Real quick, legitimately, though, I'll hit the 11 through 20, just real quick read for those.
I want to see what I know.
We won't have the full disclosures, like it's a fucking lawsuit, full discussions. Number 11 is Escape, the Pina Colada song, which, hilarious.
You're a big fan, I know.
I'm a little burnt out on it. Last football season, and plus more than football season, I got into this weird thing. And you can go to my TikTok and my Instagram. You can find this post where every week before a big show, and not even every week, before like a big show I would do for an entire few months, I would play this song on the way to work. And I took like a photo of what city I was in, and I played this song, and you can find it. And I have not listened to this song in a while for that. I got a little tired of it. But then Cars by Gary Newman. Okay. And then the real reason I kind of wanted to hit the 11 through 20 is because song 13 of the Billboard Hot 100 is Cruisin', the inferior original by Smokey Robinson, as opposed to what I mentioned, I think, last week, the superior duet by Huey Lewis and Gwyneth Paltrow from the movie Duet.
I believe that's false, but that's it. So, is that on a Sunday afternoon like that one?
Maybe let's cruise. Away. No. Cruising on a Sunday afternoon is a 60s pop song. Cruising.
Oh, and I thought that was Smokey.
On a Sunday after. No, that is not him. That is the Young Rascals. Couldn't Get Away Too Soon. Yeah, that's the Rascals. No, Cruising by Smokey Robinson is the smooth jam that goes, baby, let's cruise away from here. All right, I'll stop singing.
No, it had nothing to do with me singing. I don't like that song by anyone that sings it. So.
It could have been because of my singing. It's fine. And then Working My Way Back to You by the Spinners, Lost in Love by Air Supply, Little Genie by Elton John, Ride Like the Wind, Christopher Cross, Upside Down by Diana Ross, Please Don't Go by Casey and the Sunshine Band, Babe by Styx, That's your top 20 or your 11 through 20. But we'll move on. I really just wanted to hit Cruisin' by Smokey Robinson because it would make it 2 shows in a row where that song has come up now.
Wow.
So, so we have not discussed ahead of time the format. I have two approaches for you.
All right.
Do you want to do all of movies and all of TV, or do you want to do 11 and 11, 12 and 12, 13 and 13? It's your call.
I think we stay medium specific.
Okay.
I think it's too back and forth otherwise. So.
Okay, well, let's start with movies then.
Cool. All right.
I will quickly hit the top 10, just because, again, we're focusing on 11 through 20. But the number one
movie...
yeah, it is. It's you may have heard of it. And again, we are also, by the way, if we talk box office for this, because we're doing television shows and we're doing the Billboard 100, this is the domestic box office, not the worldwide box office. So you could say something did better worldwide. I don't care. This is the domestic box office. Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Number one.
Not much else to say.
9 to 5 with Dolly Parton and Lily Tomlin. Stir Crazy, Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder.
Yep.
Kramer vs. Kramer, the Dustin Hoffman, Meryl Streep child custody drama. Any Which Way You Can, which I believe is the sequel to Any Which Way But Loose, the Clint Eastwood monkey movie. Which one came first? Was Any Which Way But Loose or Any Which Way You Can? Do we remember?
I thought But Loose did. But
I thought it did as well. I just wanted to make sure. Also, the fact that movie got a sequel. They were like, the movie where
it made a bunch of money. I mean,
yes, 1978's Any Which Way But Loose. 1980. They fast tracked that fucking sequel, didn't they?
I mean, so in 1980, it made $70 million on a $15 million budget, though. I mean, so it's.
God damn. Although I know we're trying not to focus on the top 10, but I've actually never seen this movie. I've actually never seen either of these movies, now that I think about it. I've seen the poster and I'm aware of jokes for Every Which Way But Loose because like the critic made fun of it and people made fun of it. But I want to read you the plot description for just the sequel.
All right.
The cast of the previous film return as Philo Bedeau Eastwood reluctantly comes out of retirement from underground bare-knuckle boxing to take on a champion hired by the mafia who will stop at nothing to ensure the fight takes place, while a neo-Nazi biker gang Philo humiliated in the previous film also comes back for revenge. The best part about that is there's not a single mention of the fact that his best friend is a monkey and is with him the entire movie. There's not a mention of that. So,
different time.
I'm just going to read the first paragraph of this because, again, people who've seen this movie like, yeah, that's the movie. I've never seen this. 2 years after his fight with Tate Murdoch, Philo is still fighting in underground bare-knuckle boxing matches. He still lives with his mother, his brother, and his orangutan Clyde, and he decides to retire when he realizes he's started to enjoy the pain.
Oh.
All right, we're going to move on.
Theaters.
By the way, that is the 5th highest grossing movie of 1980. Private Benjamin, which is a Goldie Hawn, I believe, war comedy. Mm-hmm. Yes, she's like a highfalutin, fancy lady. And
I think she fucks her husband to death, and then and then goes into the army.
That is correct. Coal Miner's Daughter, the Loretta Lynn story, which I believe that was Sissy Spacek won the Oscar for that. Number 8, Smokey and the Bandit 2. So, listen, we joke, but those first two Smokey and the Bandits movies, Smokies and the Bandits, Smokey and the Bandit movies, they made bank. People loved them. They listen, they are of their time. Like, in every fucking possible way, they are of their time. But they made bank.
This was, in the midst of Burt Reynolds just being like, as white hot as anything. Like, you put him on anything and everyone's like, sure, I'm in.
The number 9 biggest movie of 1980, one of my all-time favorites, in my personal top 5 most favorite movies of all time, The Blues Brothers.
Great movie. It's
an amazing film.
Madcap insanity, but so much fun and amazing. I don't know if there's a better movie to utilize cameos than The Blues Brothers. They're awesome.
I would have to think on that. I will try to actually think on that because I don't know if I have a good counterpoint. And then number 10, Ordinary People, the family drama with Mary Tyler Moore. Was Robert Redford in that, or am I misremembering that? I just remember Mary Tyler Moore was either nominated or won the Oscar. No, it was Donald Sutherland.
Right.
Oh, Robert Redford directed it. That's why I was thinking of Robert Redford. It was his directorial debut, and he would obviously go on to have a pretty good run there. Yeah, they got nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screen. I can't talk today again. Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor. She did not get nominated for Best Actress. She did get the Golden Globe for Best Actress. But I remember that being a big deal because so I had to read Ordinary People in high school. Was it a book you had to read in high school?
It was not. We weren't we weren't that hip, I guess. So it's
okay. So
we stuck with Scarlet Letter and shit like that.
So no, this is very much a white family is rich, son has emotional problems. It's the type of movie the Academy does tend to love. Oh, white people are in pain. Oh my God. And they have money. Oh my goodness. We feel so bad for them. We should give them awards. So, but that's your top 10. The 11, what I love about this is how fast this goes off the rails. Like, the top 10 is frankly a very, like, in my mind, all joking aside about the Monkey movie, because it is kind of the one outlier, and Smoking the Bandit, I guess. But they're movies with big stars, pedigree, they made bank. Number 11 is the Robert Altman, Robin Williams Popeye movie, which is a bizarre movie in real life. Like tell me you've seen the Popeye movie.
I have, yeah. I don't know. It's almost like it's trying to be serious. Not serious, but like it's taking itself seriously, even though it's like,
yes. What? Robert Altman just feels like such the wrong choice to do the comedy comic book movie musical of Popeye.
Give me John Landis for this or something, or give me, I don't know.
You know what my thought process on it at this point is that this was the era where a movie musical was a big deal, and not just a big deal, but you can't trust this to anybody. This is a big Hollywood movie musical. And that sounds like a joke, but when you look at the eras and like it's sort of been like the decline of the musical, but then you would come out with a big one that would be a hit. Also, I believe this is in direct response to the movie Annie was coming out from a competing studio. And it was like, and Paramount Pictures is like, well, what do we fucking got? What comic book, what comic strip newspaper characters do we got? Popeye musical. Like, what? That said, it is not a great movie, but the performances, they are giving it their all. Frankly, there will never be anyone that could have been Olive Oyl other than Shelley Duvall. She is perfect. She is amazing. No one could bring that weird, skinny, like, she looks like she came out of the comic strip. It's insane. And no one else could have done that in my mind other than Shelley Duvall.
Gilda Radner was in the mix initially, which is an interesting one, but I don't know if she's tall enough. So, but
that's just it. She's not in my mind. She's really got to be.
I feel like that's one of the closest, other than the perfection that is.
A lot of the reviews, Roger Ebert said pretty much what I just said. Duvall is like a precious piece of china with a tinkling personality. She looks and sounds like almost nobody else. And if it is true, she was born to play the character Olive Oyl and does so in Altman's new musical. It is also true she has possibly played more really different kinds of characters than any other actress in the 70s. Oh, it was just pretty much just like, hey, she's real good. Sorry you're in this movie.
But they both gave it 3.5. Both him and Siskel gave it 3.5 out of 4, right?
Crazy.
That is wild.
So the movie, it made money. It did fine. But basically, this is the film producer, Robert Evans, the famous, like, the kid stays in the picture, Robert Evans.
Yeah.
This is one of his 80s gasps to stay relevant at Paramount, make money. And it really was I just want to make money with a musical because somebody else is going to make the movie I actually wanted to make. And you'll notice that we're not really talking about Robin Williams in this. This is his first feature film. And
how crazy is that?
my goodness, is he gets really lost in it because I believe he was told no ad-libbing. You told Robin Williams no ad-libbing. And also the fact that he has to do that fucking voice the entire time that wound up, I believe, being ADR'd anyway. So he could have ad-libbed because you can't understand what he's saying, and he had to re-record it all anyway because it's nothing like mumble voice. It's a very odd movie.
I mean, I saw this like earlier in life, right? Like, I don't know if I was a young teenager or if not. And my main thing is that isn't his dad named like Poop Deck or something, or Poop Deck Pappy or something?
Poop Deck Pappy, yeah, with Ray Walston.
And I remember that just being amusing because I'm a child, and
no, that's and you know what? That was for you. That was for you. Do you remember what was it? Her brother? What? Yes. Do you remember what Olive Oil's brother's name is? Unless you have it in front of you.
Is it Wimpy? Or is that it?
No, Wimpy is their friend, but he looks just like Wimpy because they drew them all the same. Castor Oil is Olive Oil.
Oh, right. I got you.
Thank you. See you out there. So anyway, let's move on.
Real quick, you know what I didn't know as I'm just like,
what do you got?
Spinning back through it.
No, I said let's move on. We're done.
I'm sorry. No, any of the singing in that was done by the original voice in the cartoon of Popeye, which is cool.
Oh, that's
an interesting
cool.
thing. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yes, we can move on.
So, and we stay with Shelley Duvall because number 12 is The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's legendary movie. He tortured her, and her career was essentially never the same because she grew to hate acting and the entire craft and everything that had ever been a part of it.
Working with Kubrick.
Amazing career in the 70s. Yeah, right? Jesus Christ. And listen, there's nothing we can say here that probably hasn't already been said about The fucking Shining.
Yeah.
What discourse are we going to bring? We can hit a few
fun adaptation of a quirky novel. It's a
right. Well, Stephen King didn't like it. That's why he had it redone in the 90s with Steven Weber as the Jack Nicholson role, which makes me happy.
Again,
I loved it.
Patron saint of our podcast.
Patron saint of the podcast, Steven Weber. We will find a way to bring him up, and he keeps coming up organically. That's the best part. So, God bless you, Steven Weber. Please listen to us. We love you. So, I didn't hate that TV movie in the 90s, but I also was 9 and didn't know any better. So it was on ABC. It wasn't going to be as scary and bloody as The fucking Shining.
Yep.
Stephen King, though, famously liked the TV movie version better because it stayed closer to his book. But The Shining is The Shining. And we've actually talked about, I think, some of this before because I mentioned, did you ever watch the sequel? What the fuck? I brought it up to you the other day. The other day being like a month ago. The hell was that? Dr. Sleep. Did you ever watch Dr. Sleep?
Oh, no, I didn't. No.
You mentioned you might...
it's falling off the wayside. I need to put that on my list. But...
you mentioned the wife likes Ewan McGregor also quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And considering that he's wanted to cheat on his wife, he might like her quite a bit too. Keep your wife away from Ewan McGregor. So,
I do that. I'm hesitant to even go see movies with him. Come on.
He will come out from the screen and cheat on his wife with your wife. That is what's going to happen.
My own personal ring is Ewan McGregor coming out. And
I was going to go the other way, that it was you would have the ticket from Last Action Hero, but instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ewan McGregor is going to come out of the screen and he's going to fuck your wife. It's not good. Stay away.
There's other ones. I could do Poltergeist. He pulls her into the TV. Like that.
I love. I just have this image of it's Poltergeist, and the scene is happening with the TV, and she's like up against the screen, and you're like, "Honey, don't!" And she's like, "Shut the fuck up. This is fine. It's fine. I'm going in." And you're like, "Honey," it's like, "You need to go. You need to leave now. I'm doing this. You can either be on board. I'll be back. Give me an hour."
And she points down when she's inside the TV. "I'm here." I'm going to go away now.
Oh,
you have fun with Ghost Ewan McGregor. I'll,
Does she listen to the show at all?
No, because mercifully, no.
So I feel like you should just have her randomly listen to this part in 2 weeks when this episode's out, just for fun.
Next episode from the couch in my living room where I permanently reside.
I was about to say, and then when you're not allowed to do the show anymore, we'll have that discussion. Anything else you want to say about The Shining before we move on? It's The Shining.
Yeah, I think drawn back to when we did the TV themes episode where we talked about, I think I picked Law and Order, and we didn't even mention it as Law and Order until about a minute into discussing what we had already heard. I feel like The Shining is the same thing. It's just it's become part of the pop culture because it's been parodied so much in so many different things that people that have never seen the movie know all that stuff from certain things, whether it's The Simpsons or whether it's a million different things. Yeah, that Here's Johnny has been parodied so many times.
Yep. So the number 13 on the top 10 of films is Cheech and Chong's next movie, which I did not expect. I feel like of a certain generation. Now, I don't know where Cheech and Chong stand in the cultural zeitgeist right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as a kid, because our parents probably liked or listened to Cheech and Chong, they were still kind of relevant. And Tommy Chong was on that 70s show, and Cheech Marin was on Nash Bridges. But that was all in the 90s and early 2000s. In the last 20 years, have Cheech and Chong been forgotten about by anyone that's not 40?
I mean, I think it was such a mainstay. Well, this was also the time when record albums, like comedy record albums were a big thing too. And so a lot of people were, hanging out, listening to that. And so it just to have that
let me rephrase.
Yep.
Let me rephrase, because I realize I'm not asking what I really want to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
For people that are listening to this now, do I need to explain who Cheech and Chong is my question.
I don't think so, but I mean, maybe I don't have my finger on the pulse, but I think people at least know they were a comedy duo and they smoked a lot of pot. Like, I feel like those two are pretty universally known. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
listeners of a certain age, but it's I feel like that's all, because that's all you need to know for these movies. So
yeah. And I never saw this one. I've seen Up in Smoke. I think I've seen Up in Smoke a couple of times, although it was like the TV cut.
Yeah.
Did you ever see this one, Cheech and Chong's next movie?
Not all the way through. It was on somewhere, as I was flipping through, and I maybe watched a half hour of it. And, the narrative of these is flimsy. It's just kind of stuff happens. So
the relevant point to this movie, Pee Wee Herman's in it. Mm-hmm. This is an early appearance from Pee Wee Herman. And like, not just Paul Rubin, like I'm not sure if he's billed as Pee Wee Herman officially, but he's doing Pee Wee Herman as he would do him at the time on his stage show.
Which was more like graphic, right? Like, was more.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's in a Cheech and Chong movie doing it, because Pee Wee Herman was not a kid's character until suddenly he was. Because, as I think we talked about last week, the 80s were a weird time where they'd take the most adult, vulgar, R-rated shit and be like, that seems like that could be for kids. That's just like that. That would be for the fact that I had a line of RoboCop and Aliens action figures. Those were hard R movies. And they were like, let's do toys. Let's do toys. Everybody's watching them. We know otherwise. Like, that's nuts. But it's of that area.
This is wild. I hadn't done as much of a deep dive into it, but I guess because of the nature of the content, the television edit is basically almost a completely different movie. Like, there's different scenes in it. Like, they extended other scenes, different dialogue, a different music score. Like,
they can't be seen smoking pot. It's Cheech and Chong.
That's probably just like clever edits where you just see like the smoke, but you don't see them smoking. So it's just
interesting.
Wild. I'd be curious to see what the edit was, or even if that was probably even more convoluted than the actual movie.
Definitely. So moving on down the line, we come to a movie we only discussed, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, number 14, Caddyshack. And we talked all about Caddyshack in our Bill Murray versus Chevy Chase 1980s episode. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Honestly, we covered this movie pretty extensively.
Yep. We go from pot to Coke. It's great.
Yeah. Wait, what did you just say?
We go from pot, Cheech and Chong, to Coke, Caddyshack.
Oh. I did not process that in the least. Also, I was naive enough to be like, why are we talking about Coca-Cola? Genuinely, unironically, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Not that they're doing Coke in Caddyshack, but they were doing Coke on Caddyshack.
Oh my God, so much behind the scenes. My goodness. I will say that after our episode, because I kind of maligned it, and I was like, there are a couple of good points, but I kind of shit on it. I did rewatch it, and my opinion hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield is still the best part.
No,
And anytime he's not on screen, you just want Rodney Dangerfield to come back.
it's very true. Yep.
Which then led me to watch Back to School, which I like way better. So
Well done.
now moving on to number 15. I don't know about you. This is a big one for me simply because it started so much in my life. Friday the 13th, the original. And I am a massive 80s horror fan. I'm talking Freddy. I'm talking Jason. I'm talking Michael Myers. I love your old slasher films. The thing is, for as iconic as this one is, people only ever talk about how iconic I think two moments from it are. The ending, which is like the last 15 minutes, which is quite good, and Kevin Bacon getting killed with the arrow through the throat, which is a great special effect by Tom Savini. Great early performance by Kevin Bacon. Here's the thing about the original Friday the 13th. Because they hadn't figured out the slasher formula yet, this movie is often duller than shit. Like, it drags. There are long periods of just following a POV camera through the woods, which, now, again, it was 19. What you have to do, I always try to put myself in the shoes of the era, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you watch Friday the 13th today, after everything has come out in the wake of Halloween, Friday, and Nightmare on Elm Street, this movie is going to seem so boring.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the worst of Halloween, Nightmare, and Friday. Like, of the three, like, pillars there, it's the worst one.
Sure.
But also, it's iconic and deserves its spot. It's just, it in hindsight, with everything we have now and how crazy things have got, it seems slow and boring. But you have to put yourself in the shoes of where people were in 1980. Also, this movie of itself is just a ripoff. The producer was like, Halloween in 1978 made so much goddamn money, at one point the biggest independent film of all time, from John Carpenter, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, great film, that the producer literally just thought of this title and marketed it before they'd written the movie. And so, like, they're just going to make a slasher. The fact that they got something iconic out of it was secondary. They just wanted to make some money.
Well, and with a budget of what, $500,000 or whatever, they just kind of...
They did okay.
And then made a fuck ton. I think this continues that great kind of horror movie trope of, and it even, I guess, it started with Psycho, maybe? Or just a very specific cut or music or something that signifies what's coming. So it's same with Jaws, and with Halloween did it, But this, I think, while I would agree that is third in the Halloween or Nightmare, if you put those in that trio, I think that is one of the more iconic kind of things that exists that came from this.
No, the what is it? Is it Henry what's the composer? Manfredini,
yeah.
Harry Manfredini. I believe he did like 8 of the first 9 movies. So that also helps. That is actually a nice through line in those films because they sound the same, which sounds silly, but like it helps to some credibility that those movies sound similar.
Sure.
You know, that said, some of the Friday movies are wildly inconsistent in quality. Quick diatribe on horror franchises, like aside from, I think the reason that one comes in third is it's the one that has the most amount of bad movies because it is the one where they took the least chances. The first 3 are kind of the same, aside from the fact that Jason shows up because famously, spoiler alert for a movie that's 44 years old. That's how old you are, right? 44? Just checking.
Yes, I had to think about it, but yes, that's correct.
Jason, obviously not the killer in the original Friday. It's Mrs. Voorhees. He shows up in the others, et cetera, et cetera.
How many people know that from the movie or from Scream?
Honestly, that's a good fucking question. In the modern age, if you're not a horror fan, good call. But anyway, I could do, honestly, with Halloween coming up, I wouldn't mind some kind of horror diatribes, figure something out about Friday versus Nightmare versus Halloween, but we can revisit that. So coming up at number 16 in our top 20 movies is the first one I've never heard of.
Yeah.
And I had to Google it. And I thought this was the 16th the 16th biggest movie of the year. It's called Brubaker, starring Robert Redford this time. And also with Yaphet Kotto, who I love. Yaphet Kotto does fun work. And I got really excited very briefly because I saw David Keith. Then I realized I was thinking of Keith David, and this is a boring looking white guy. I was considerably less excited.
And in a lesser role, Morgan Freeman, right?
Oh, is it? So here's the thing. If you look at the starring on the Wikipedia, it is such a lesser role. He does not make the cut in the side column. So there you go. Yeah, he's just outside the range of having made that side column.
But when he shows up, you're like, oh, all right. I know that guy.
Yeah, why? Oh, did you watch this?
No. I'm saying if. I'm guessing. No, God, I've never seen that.
Oh, that sounded disgusted too. Oh, God, I've never watched Brubaker. What am I? That said, it was, the 16th biggest movie of the year. It's Robert Redford as a newly arrived prison warden who attempts to clean up a corrupt and violent penal system. Which honestly sounds, I don't know how to say this, it sounds very par for the course for late 70s, early 80s Robert Redford. Strong leading man role. He can fight against the system and look like he's powerful. End of story. I don't know what to say.
As I keep looking to, I kind of want to watch this just for like the who's who in the background. Like Wilford Brimley's a prison board member. Nicolas Cage is an uncredited background role. Like
appeared in an uncredited background role as a prisoner 1 year before his first credited role. Here's my question though: can you tell he's in it? That's what I want.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Number 17 for the 11 through 20 of the top movies is The Jazz Singer, not the one from the 20s. You fool! They didn't re-release it. You idiot! That's you. You didn't look at. Wasn't that the first talkie? The Jazz Singer?
Yeah, Al Jolson.
It was a part talkie. Yes, it is the first feature-length motion picture with synchronized recorded music and lip sync synchronous singing and speech. It is like half and half. It is part silent film, part talkie. The talkie parts blew their fucking minds up. People were coming into theaters. Theaters were caked in cum. People were erupting. They couldn't take it. It was amazing.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Theaters were caked in cum, Randy. They were excited by the fact that people were talking. They just started blowing loads everywhere in the theater. Like, did you fucking hear that? I heard that. Oh my God.
I mean, that sucks, how do you advertise people got dressed up to go to the movies back then too. Like, it's not in 1980, but
no,
1927 they would have though.
However, the 1980 remake of The Jazz Singer stars Neil Diamond, Cherry Cherry, Sweet Caroline,
Coming to America.
Listen, the best thing about Neil Diamond is the Will Ferrell Neil Diamond storyteller sketch, where he goes, "I wrote this song about my hatred of filthy immigrants. On the boats and on the planes, they're coming to America." Dylan and I were traveling one night and we hit a kid and it was pretty messed up. And we killed a drifter. And I wrote this song, Forever in Blue Jeans. Oh, God. I could watch that sketch.
Oh, actually, was that song on this soundtrack? Is that where it's from?
I don't know. Let's look at the soundtrack because I got something else I want to talk about with The Jazz Singer.
That was the first Neil Diamond song that came in my head, but like...
America is the top, yes, because he is an immigrant. Okay.
I mean, that makes sense, yeah.
It was a big hit. Love on the Rocks, Hello Again in America reached numbers 2, 6, and 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 at different points, respectively, throughout the year. So The Jazz Singer, listen, Neil Diamond, I joke because the concept that Neil Diamond was a big enough star to front a movie is laughable, I think, in 2024. But in 1980, it wasn't.
Sure.
And what is bad, though, do you remember... Don't look anything up. I want to show you a sequence, and I want to see if you remember this.
Oh, boy.
But please tell me that ain't no white man. Please. 1, 2, 3, 4, brothers. Takes a lot of time.
Yeah, that's Neil Diamond in blackface. So I probably can't keep the music in there, but I wanted you to see that scene because it's such a bizarre scene. Because it does make me laugh because it hits every classic musical bio moment to the point where they ripped that scene off in Walk Hard, where he shows up and he has to play with the black band. And that scene is the scene in Walk Hard, except this time it's real and he puts on blackface and he sings with the band. And I'm just like, oh, God. Oh, God. But anyway, thoughts on Jazz Singer, Neil Diamond, et cetera, et cetera?
I mean, I understand why they thought it might have worked. I mean, how far are we removed from Barbra Streisand's stuff? You know, like
Only
I
a
just
year or two. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
It's
I think
pretty.
that's in huge star with potential. They thought appeal if you put him in the right. I don't know.
By the way, I would like to know real quick that I was about to read you the Roger Ebert review of The Jazz Singer for 1980. I didn't realize I had the wrong window up, and I almost read it, but it was actually going to be the review for Cheech and Chong's next movie. So,
It's like, wow, that's a lot of stuff I don't remember in this movie.
so here's the best part, though, is I got about halfway through, and it still made sense to me. This movie's embarrassing. There's no invention in it, no imagination, no vision, no ideas, and this is where it tipped me off. No ideas that might be funny, just something to laugh at if you're up in the bag anyways. Like, oh, this isn't The Jazz Singer. Also, despite being the 17th highest grossing movie of the year, investor Lou Grade, that's a famous name, he's invested in other things, said the box office results were disappointing and we were not able to recoup our print and advertising costs. So it was a bomb.
Wow, this is fascinating. So the Golden Globes liked this movie for some reason. Both Neil Diamond and Lucy Arnaz, that's Lucy and Desi's daughter, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
You got.
Were nominated for the Golden Globe for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actress. And this is, I think, the only instance, and it looks like that Neil Diamond was nominated for both a Golden Globe and a Golden Raspberry for the same role. He only won the Raspberry, and there's only 3 other actors to do that. That's pretty funny. With Orson Welles being the only one in 1982 to win both. How fat, man. That also feels like a Golden Globes, just Hollywood, like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Golden Globes are fake. They're, do you want to buy an award ahead of the Oscars? By the way, I realized why I knew the name Lou Grade, because he's referenced in the Muppet movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the one that invested in the Muppet Show. He's the actual investor that got the Muppets going for the Muppet Show. He also was a producer behind, I have this series on the Blu-ray, The Prisoner, the British show from the 60s. The one that The Simpsons parodied with The Island and the Numbers. That's The Prisoner. That's that show. The one with the big fucking bubble that Homer pops, that's a reference to the thing that kept you on the island in The Prisoner.
I see.
Number 18, Flash Gordon. Yes, that Flash Gordon, like the one that they reference in Ted, the one that has the Queen song. Flash Gordon approaching. Flash! John! Savior of the universe! Dum, bum, bum, bum. What do you mean, Flash Gordon approaching? Flash! Oh! He'll save us! Dum, bum, bum, bum. Anyway, where were we?
I put this as like Maximus Sidow's second best villain performance. So, with of course Strange Brew being number 1. But
do you have thoughts on Flash Gordon? I've seen the movie. It's I don't know. I can get why it has the cult status. It does. It's just not for me.
It's pretty standard superhero film of that time, right? I mean, it's
yeah, a little more tongue in cheek ish, just because of what it was, and I don't know. It's not for me. I don't know what to say. I don't have a lot to say on it. I know the guy has made quite a career since basically all the people that grew up loving this movie just decided to start putting him in cameos and things like that. And I feel like he's had a really good career since all those people grew up and started making movies since like 2010, living off of the fact that he was Flash Gordon.
He beat out Kurt Russell and Arnold Schwarzenegger for the part.
Interesting. When did Arnold do Conan?
Yeah.
1982. So
yeah, so
he wouldn't get his for another. Yep. There you go.
Probably, I don't know if the accent was 100% refined yet. Maybe it was still.
Probably not, because they dubbed him in the first Conan, if you remember. Yeah. So the number 19 is the other of the 2 movies in the 11 through 20 that I've never heard of. I have never heard of Bronco Billy. This is another Clint Eastwood movie. So he was the number 2 movie and the number 19 movie of the year. So good for him.
No
Big year
monkey.
for
No
Clint
monkey.
Eastwood.
So
No monkey. However, it is a comedy drama, so another comedy drama from him. And he's I don't want to say he's a cowboy, but it is a Western. But it's not him being, spaghetti Western Clint Eastwood or even a pastiche of that. He's a stuntman in like a Wild West show traveling around, kind of like the old Buffalo Bill Wild West shows that you would hear about. And Scatman Crothers in it. I can go back to scatting.
Yeah. Also in The Shining, so it's
Oh yeah, good year for him. How about that?
Yeah.
A lot of overlap for some of these people. Can we get some new stars? Have you seen Bronco Billy? Have you heard of Bronco Billy?
That was the same thing. This and Brubaker I'd never heard of when we went through it. Looked at 11 through 20.
Same. So before we, let's hit number 20, Raging Bull. Martin Scorsese.
Boom.
Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci. I'm stunned that this was only number 20 because this is the original concept of this episode was what was in the middle 20, 11 through 20 on the charts, and what had staying power, what went the course of time. If you were to look at the staying power of these movies and were to rearrange them, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back would probably still be at number 1.
Yep.
Without any particular order, you'd put in the top 5 probably Caddyshack, Friday the 13th, The Blues Brothers, and Raging Bull. That's not any order, but if you were to, and The Shining, did I say The Shining?
You didn't, and I would say Kramer versus Kramer's up there somewhere too, just for
I disagree. It's a great movie that got a lot of awards, but if we're talking about what's relevant in 2024, I don't think it cracks the top 5. It's in the top 10.
I felt like it set the stage for a lot of dramedy type things. Dramas posing as comedies. That's what I think Kramer versus Kramer is. But
I didn't think Kramer vs. Kramer was a dramedy. I thought that was a very hard drama about. Maybe I need to rewatch it. I've seen it. I don't remember it being funny at all.
See, I had
was it funny?
I thought there were supposed to be comedic components to it. Maybe I'm misremembering it too, but it's possible. You usually have a better handle on that than I do, but
I don't remember it being funny, but I could be wrong. I just remember it being a very tough movie about divorce and family. But there could be a couple of father-son moments that I'm not thinking of that could be comedic. But honestly, there's movies that we know and love on here. But if you're to really look at if you look at the top 20, I would get rid of Smokey the Bandit 2. Honestly, I'd get rid of Private Benjamin. I'd get rid of Ordinary People. I'd get rid of Brubaker. I'd get rid of the Cheech and Chong movie. And I would get rid of Bronco Billy as things that in 2024 don't matter to anybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, Goldie Hawn. I know Private Benjamin was a big hit, and I'm aware of it, but no one is talking about Private Benjamin in 2024. I think Stir Crazy is just making the cut because of how beloved Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor are. And I think 9 to 5 would have 4 or 5 years ago wouldn't have had the relevance that it's resurged into in a modern culture, modern workplace. People love Dolly Parton. It's still up there. Popeye is a curiosity, just barely makes a relevant list, but really would be the next thing to go, probably, in my mind.
Yeah.
And the jazz singer. But thoughts on the top 20 movies, specifically 11 through 20, before we move on?
No, just fascinating what seems to show up as making money versus what was deemed good filmmaking or was at the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it was a different time where going to the movies was an event and a thing you did because there weren't always things to do for entertainment.
Yep, absolutely. So I would like to hit one random thing. I don't want to go through 20 through 30, but do you know if I said the movie The Nude Bomb at number 30, do you know what that is?
No, never heard of it.
The Nude Bomb is the Get Smart movie. And the catch is they didn't bring back anybody from the show except for Don Adams to play Maxwell Smart, including 99. She's not in it. The Chief isn't in it. Nobody's in it. And Mel Brooks and Buck Henry had nothing to do with it. It was a massive bomb I'm only aware of it because I'm so fascinated by the fact that it even exists. Like, I had a Get Smart phase as a kid
Yeah.
where they had the revival. It did get a nomination for Worst Picture at the Golden Raspberries.
Wow.
It grossed $14 million on a $15 million budget to be the 30th highest grossing movie of the year. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that, looking at 1980, that was a curiosity.
Did they have anything? Was there any stamp on the movies with Steve Carell later on and Anne Hathaway?
Oh, you mean Mel Brooks and Buck Henry?
Mm-hmm.
Did they have anything to do with it? I don't think they did, but let's look up the production.
They got based on in it, so
I'm surprised that movie never got a sequel, because I thought it did well enough and was received well enough to get a sequel, and I thought they could have had some fun with it.
Jesus,
but,
yeah, it made a lot of money. I'm looking at it right now.
I'm really surprised that movie didn't get a sequel. Any final thoughts on movies, or is it time for TV shows?
Let's go to the small screen, as they call it, I think.
And it really was the small screen at this point, both in size, and this is obviously well before TV is well regarded as movies. There are going to be a few shows in here that kind of fight that, and my God, the ratings for TV at this time. There's only 3 networks, right?
Yep.
Like, there are millions and millions and millions of people watching these shows. Like, Dallas is the #1 rated TV program of 1980, and it is the height of, like, Dallas fever, right? I'm pretty sure...
Who Shot JR, right?
It was that this year was my question. I couldn't remember if that was the next year. So Who Shot JR, the famous cliffhanger, just one of the biggest, most famous cliffhangers of all time. But 34.5 audience share. Just, my God, tearing it down. Also, I would like to note the first 4 shows of the top 10, and actually 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 10 shows are CBS shows. Yeah. So CBS has a grip on network television in 1980. #1, Dallas. #2, The Dukes of Hazzard. #3, 60 Minutes. #4, MASH. #5 is The Love Boat on ABC. #6, The Jeffersons. #7, Alice. #8, House Calls, which is the first of these top 10 shows I'd never heard of.
Yep.
Tied at #8, to the point where it doesn't give it a *9. It goes 8 to 10 because it's tied for 22.4 share. Three's Company on ABC. Little House on the Prairie, the only NBC show to crack the top 10, with Michael Landon, Little House on the Prairie. Never liked Little House on the Prairie. It's just so fucking boring to me as a kid. Before we move to the 11 through 20 and do a little more of a dive, do you have any thoughts on anything you want to talk about in the top 10?
So just to put this in comparison, I got curious and I looked up the 2023-24. So this is from September of 2023 to May of 2024, the average 7-day rankings for TV viewership now. And obviously we're in a completely different world. You know, everything is streaming. People are watching, consuming things many different ways. But just to give you an idea of what this was like when there was only a few stations to watch, you mentioned that everybody in the top 10, Little House on the Prairies was number 10 and their rating share was 22. Or the top rated for that range I said in 2023-24 was Sunday Night Football with a rating share of like 19. So
wow, that's amazing.
And then 2 is Monday Night Football, and it's like 12. And then Tracker, which is a CBS show, I don't even know what that is, but is the only one in double digits on a rating. And NCIS and Young Sheldon are pretty close, but so there's only, call it, 3 shows that are double digit in ratings nowadays, other than the 2 footballs, which is crazy.
That is kind of amazing, yeah.
Whereas everything we're going to go through here in 11 through 20, the top 20 are all 20 plus, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's a different era for sure. To me, so many of these shows, I love MASH. I could talk about so much on MASH. Researching this led me to just watching a bunch of MASH clips on YouTube. We're not going to talk about MASH, and we're not even, that's in #4. I haven't watched MASH in a very long time. And I was just watching clips, and I was like, God, this is a good fucking show.
It's a great premise of finding humor in places where it doesn't always exist, and then how it can coincide with tragedy and other emotions. So you're
Yep,
not. It's just we're not. It's not slapstick, right? Like it
correct.
felt way more real because it was comedy when comedy was the only outlet you had amongst everything that's going on and the stress and the pressure of your environment.
And it's important to note, without spoiling it, because I don't want to say it yet, MASH, we're not done talking about MASH this episode because of something that's going to come up later.
Yeah.
But I wanted to kind of lead in with that. I really liked the reboot of Dallas that they did on TNT in the 2010s. And it's a shame because Larry Hagman died during it, and he was in his 80s, but he was still on point as JR. He was that show still, and it only lasted another season without him. And it was great. It was genuinely great watching this 80-year-old man out scheme everyone and everyone getting so angry about it. And it was just fun because of that.
Totally.
But moving on to the real meat here, number 11, One Day at a Time. This was a very big hit, well received. It had a Netflix revival a couple years ago that I think was also very well received.
Yep.
They tweaked it a little bit. But this starred Mackenzie Phillips and Valerie Bertinelli. Mackenzie Phillips, I believe, the daughter of the two people. Was she in the Mamas? She's the daughter of the Mamas and the Papas people, right?
Yes. Not Mama Cass, right?
No.
Yeah.
She's the one that I think she's. Do you want me to say it? Because I just remembered who she was.
Sure.
There was in a 2009 interview on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Mackenzie Phillips said that she'd first tried cocaine when she was 11 and that her father had given it to her, and that she had a consensual sexual relationship with her father, as sort of you just took your glasses off. Like, I can't do this.
That was well timed, but
anyway, she described it as Stockholm syndrome, where she was being held captive and she grew to love her captor. And anyway, then she went on to be in One Life to Live. So what a good time. Yeah, that's not great. That said, Valerie Bertinelli was, I don't think, as tortured a human being, and she was very well received. She went on to be in Hot in Cleveland years later. She was on Touched by an Angel.
Yes.
She was. I never watched the original One Life to Live. I'm pretty sure. Yes, it ended when I was a year old. Its entire run was 75
one day at
to
a time,
84.
right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I said One Life to Live.
I do
Yes.
that sometimes too. Yeah.
What was One Life to Live? Is that a sitcom?
I thought that's a soap opera, isn't it?
It is. One Life to Live was on from 1968 to 2012, and that was a sitcom or soap opera. So there you go. Anyway, One Day at a Time. So it definitely comes to me in the wake of a show we'll talk about a little bit here, but in a minute. But All in the Family, and
I mean, it's Norman
even
Lear,
though
right?
it was a comedy, The Jeffersons, right? It comes in the wake of sort of reality returning to television, even if it's a heightened reality and it's a comedy and there's things going on where it's not super realistic. It's more realistic than it had been. It's the same era in the late 70s that brought you Chico and the Man and things like that, where we're not going to give you, we've talked about the rural purge that happened in the early 70s from CBS networks, where they canceled all the country corn shucking sitcoms, when you fuck your corn. This was an era where they were trying to be as realistic and as urban as possible. Let's go to cities. Let's go to real families. What's actually happening in people's lives. And was it as accurately as depicted as it could be? Probably not. But it was also the first kind of times these things were being documented on TV.
And I think they tried to make it so it wasn't just everything that was sort of portrayed was either New York or Philadelphia or Los Angeles, or it wasn't. It was Indianapolis felt like more of Middle America, because it literally is Middle America. But this was more something that people could relate to. I mean, I guess you could, to an extent, like WKRP in Cincinnati was doing the same thing. There were these things where this is taking place in a little bit more of a Middle America type place versus a big time city that hustle and bustle and all that stuff.
So moving on to number 12, this is the only show in the 11 through 20 I'd never heard of before we started researching.
Yeah.
And what's crazy to me is it's actually kind of an important show
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like has been forgotten. It's a reality TV show in 1979 to 84. Like, that's insane to me.
Yep.
And it was a big deal. And it had, I feel like kind of long-ranging ramifications for TV that we have now, because it led to imitation shows, the most important of which was That's Incredible, which was a show that aired from 80 to 84, which was people doing stunts and crazy things and like, don't try this at home elements. And also Tiger Woods was on that show when he was 5, showing his ability to putt a golf ball from different areas around the stage. And like,
Yep.
you look at the rise of reality TV and bizarreness and things, and it was like, can you trace it back to fucking real people? Which was just hosts introducing pre-film segments and engaging comedic banter about them. And every segment visited somebody to talk about their unique occupation or hobby, and somebody might be in the audience, and it was real people. And I'm just thought, it's amazing to me that I don't think anyone could name this show today, yet it's probably very important when you look at TV even as it is now. That's fascinating to me.
And I just looked it up because I know it's not the same, but as I was starting to read through all this, I said, well, they're trying to loosen up. It almost is the CBS Sunday Morning format, but in a looser kind of comedic way. And I looked it up, and Sunday Morning debuted in 1979. So I wonder if there was something where they saw that and said, I don't know if that had any effect on it, but it's interesting how that came right about it. And they're like, well, let's continue to work with this format. And then that spawned, That's Incredible and these other things. It was one of the first quote unquote reality shows, but it not quite of what we would see. I don't think the reality show as we now know it doesn't really happen until Real World, I would think, right, on MTV. I think that's the first one.
You are correct. You are 100% correct.
But this at least gets us into, I think this has more, this more spawns America's Funniest Home Videos, in my opinion, than anything else. It's that kind of thing.
Whatever, I guess, my point is I was trying to feel like this show that I don't know led to things I do know, is I guess my point. Is the things I do know wouldn't exist without this show I'd never heard of. Is whatever avenue you take, because I think you're right. You are definitely more accurate in what you're saying than what I was going for. But I still think there's something important here that I want to acknowledge. And there was a kid's spinoff that starred the little shit from A Christmas Story that I don't care.
You beat me to the punch. I was gonna.
Yeah, I saw it. So fuck yeah. Also, Mark Russell was one of like the comedians that would do bits, and I just remember his like weird 15 minutes of fame. I felt like in the 90s where he did all the political songs, and then he was parodied on SNL by Mark McKinney. So that's
was that that wasn't him in The Simpsons they were making fun of, was it? When Lisa went to Washington? Yes. Was that him?
Yes,
okay, yeah.
It was. Yes, it was.
Because there's one other guy. I didn't know if it was Tom Lehrer or not, but
no, that was him.
Yeah, and then there was one other thing from this I was going to bring up, and then
I was going to move on, but we shall not. We shall stay right here in place.
Oh, did you mention Richard Simmons? This was what
I did not.
Okay, that was one of the things that gave him his break into mass media and his acknowledgement. Yes, and we have real people to thank for Richard Simmons entering the pop culture,
which I did not expect. So this show has long-reaching ramifications. So moving on, we go to number 13, and I would say that number 13 on CBS is the show Archie Bunker's Place, and I think that could confuse some people who are not well-versed in TV history. Archie Bunker's Place is still All in the Family.
Right.
The catch is that Sally Struthers and Rob Reiner as the kids, as the Stivicks, have moved out. They've left the show.